Welcome to a video from thedigitallives.com. In this video I'm going to be checking out this U6 MIDI Pro MIDI filter, router, combiner MIDI utility tool. So the reason why I bought this little box is I've got some devices like my Keystage, which is connected up to my TX7, which is a TX7 in a box, and that's great, works brilliant. I can play along with it and play with it real time. But sometimes I want to control the TX7 from Cubase. So I could do that by patching an output from one of my MIDI devices into the TX7. But of course, you've got to repatch because I'm taking it out of taking the MIDI cable from the Keystage out and putting it back in. So what I want is some kind of MIDI merge function. So that's why I looked at this. It's a MIDI merge box, but a lot more than that. It does MIDI routing, it does MIDI filtering, a MIDI mapper, and it's a MIDI interface USB. So it comes with a USB-C cable, USB on the other side, USB-B on the other side. Get a little, it lights up like that. Very handy indicators that show when there's activity on there. And then what you can do then is you can then say, I want the output from this MIDI controller, so MIDI in on here. I want this to go straight back out to the TX7. So in and out into the TX7. But I can also in the software say that I want that interface to be, I want to send to that interface from the DAW. So from Cubase, I can also send to the TX7. So it means that I can have the best of both worlds. I can use it real time just to play, write stuff and do sound design. And when I want to record it and use MIDI, I can use it with MIDI as well. But there's other scenarios I've got a little Korg NX5R, and maybe I want to send to that at the same time from the Keystage as well. But I don't want it to send clock messages or patch changes and things like that, and that's where this box comes into it. So I'm going to plug it in, I'll get it connected up, and I'll show you what we can do with it. So to do the next bit of the testing, what I'll do, I've set up a couple of devices. There, I've got my Keystage, called Keystage, which I normally have set to MIDI to the wave state. What I've done for this is it goes out from, I've got MIDI out from the Keystage that's going into the box here, and I've got then a cable out of there into the Yamaha TX7, and then it goes through back into the wave state. I've also used one of the outputs to go to this Korg NX5R, and I've set the MIDI output of the TX7 to go back into there so that I can use it to send program dumps backwards and forwards as well. The main reason why I got the box and I wanted to test all this is because I quite often want to just play the TX7 from the Keystage, which is fine. I could just use the MIDI arrangement. As I mentioned, I can go from MIDI to MIDI to MIDI. That's no problem. But there are times, quite often, when I've been playing something, I think, right, I'll record that and I want to use the TX7 in a track. So what I then do is go to my DAW and to Cubase, and I want to use that. Well, of course, it's patched directly. So then what I've got to do, I've got to repatch stuff. So I don't have to repatch because what I've got is a MIDI merge on here. So I can merge those through so I can have both going at the same time. So that's what I'm going to show you in a second, and I'll show you how I did that with the editor. Switching here to my PC, and I've got their U6 MIDI Tools application open, and if I play a note on the Keystage, you can hear there, you can see the MIDI light flashing on the NX. You can hear two synths because I've got my TX7 and the NX, so I can just switching those between them on the mixer there. So that's primarily what I wanted to do with it, really. I want to use the Keystage to be able to control those real time, and then when I'm using Cubase, I can then get that to be able to control the synths via Cubase as well. So I don't have to repatch stuff. I can just think, oh yeah, I like that, I'll record that piece. But it does a lot more than that, so I thought I'd demonstrate that in this video here. So what I've done is I've already done some mapping just to show you what I mean. I'm going to deselect some of the stuff that I've done already. I have named some of these to make things a little bit clearer to myself when I'm doing the mapping, but you can change these. So that's my Keystage, but by default, it'll just say MIDI DIN in one. And then what you can do, you can rename it. So I've called it Keystage out because I know that's the MIDI out on my Keystage. It's plugged into the box, into the MIDI in port on the box. And here you can see I've got it mapped to the TX7 in and the NX5 in effectively. So if I deselect those, you won't hear anything now when I press that, press the key stage. So if I pick on the key stage there and say I want the key stage to go to the NX5R, there you can hear I'm controlling NX5R. And I say I also want to go control the TX7. And I've got them both up there. Also, I want to use, these are the 3 MIDI channels that are outputs from the, when you're in your DAW. I've named this one as well. You can see here that I've set so that the output 1 also goes to the TX7. Output 2, I've left the default name, goes to NX5. I'm not using output 3. So again, I've got that control over what they can do with it. These other things are filter and map I'll look at shortly. So let's switch over to Cubase now. The reason I'm using Cubase 12 and not Cubase 14, which I normally use, is to capture the screen and the audio at the same time. I've got to fiddle with the audio configurations and I don't want to mess with my Cubase 14, so I'm just using this Cubase 12, this older install. So here, I've got Cubase, I've got a MIDI channel set up and my multi-poly is here, and I've set that to go to the USB 2 output, which you can hear and you see the lights flashing on there is the NX5R. I could change that to control the TX7. Now I could do that MIDI merge, have them both at the same time, and I could even have maybe one on MIDI channel 1, one on MIDI channel 2. I could use the throughs, but the reason I like the box is because not some of the modern synths don't have MIDI through on them. So I'm using some of the older ones which do, but for example, the multi-poly, if I was using that, it doesn't have a MIDI through. So you can use this box to sort of create that MIDI through. So, but here you can see now, so I can control. So I've not set the 2 outputs to be matched because I want the flexibility in Cubase to be able to choose which device. So that's really easy to set up and control. So I've got that set up on there. Of course, the nice thing about the NX5, actually, it's a multi-timbral synth. So if I choose another channel, you can see it picks up the other channel. It's a different sound. So that's why I wouldn't want to necessarily MIDI through, because I want to use all those channels for the synth. I think if I put 10, yeah, you get the old drum machine on there. So that's got that flexibility. So that is exactly what I wanted to use it for. But let's take a look at some of the other stuff it's got as well. So I've opened the tool now. Incidentally, you can save these as presets. So I've actually saved these. You can have different configs depending on what you're doing. Of course, this little box as well, you can take it with you and have different configs. There's some other things we can do with it. We can do filtering, which I find quite handy, because not all, especially some of the older synths, don't like everything. Now, I think I've got the D110 up there, which doesn't like sometimes when you send lots of clock to it. Also, the Selena, the Behringer Selena's like that. I normally use it on USB, but if I'm using it over MIDI, it can just get flooded, and I think that it just doesn't like all the clocks. So what you can do here, I can say the TX7, say, I want to filter all the clock stuff. So I'm going to get no clock information going through to the TX7 now. So there's no really need for clock on the TX7. Same with Selena, no need on that. On the DW8000, that sometimes doesn't like the clock stuff and I can get errors, but it does have the arpeggiator you want to sync up. So what I can probably do is just filter everything apart from the clock maybe, and then that would be happy with that. So that's a really useful tool. But of course you can filter other stuff. So I could say that I don't want to send program change. That's quite handy. I'm just going to deselect these. So let's have a look at program change now. So if I go to the Keystage, let's get it always over here, change the program. So I'll move the camera around for a second. So here you can see I can go through the programs. you can see it's controlling both of those at the same time. Maybe I don't want that. So what I can do is I can say, so this is the Keystage out. And in fact, if I did this, this would stop all the program changes coming out the Keystage, which I don't want. What I want to do is just set the TX7 not to receive them so I can still send it to the other synth. So now I should be able to filter out those program changes. So if I go to the TX7 in and filter the program change, let's switch over to the synths. There you can see the NX5 is going through the program changes, but TX is not. And that's because I blocked them on that specific one. So you can see here, program changes being blocked by the input, and I've done it on the input as well. So I could go to the output and block the program changes, but then neither synth would pick up those program changes. So doing it on the input in this case is what I want to do. But like I said, you could filter all the clocks and even the note information. If you're just maybe sending SysEx over or something like that, you can filter those, and you can filter system exclusive. Maybe something doesn't like the poly aftertouch, you can block that as well. So you can do it at the output or the input stage, which I think is really handy. So another interesting one is the MIDI Mapper. So you can have 16 MIDI mappers by the looks of it. So I'm going to map the Keystage output, and I'm going to map the, let's see what we can do, the poly aftertouch to pitch bend. Let's see what that does. So if I just listen to the NX5. So they can hear that unusual use of it, but that's exactly what you can do. I should be able to do the aftertouch to, let me send it to channel aftertouch. There's nothing particularly mapped, I think, to respond to that. But if you see the light on the NX, you can see that that MIDI is receiving that MIDI, so it's receiving its channel aftertouch now instead. You can also choose the MIDI channels, so I can say MIDI channel 1 to MIDI channel 2, where you can so you can have it, so the MIDI channel comes in on 1, you can knock one channel off. So if you wanted it to go on, say it was being received on 10 and you want it to go to 9, this is how you can do that. It's quite an interesting feature. And then you've got the pressure values as well, so you can set the minimum and maximum and some ranges. So what comes in and what comes out of those as well. I need to play with this a bit more to learn a bit more about this, but it does look like it's quite interesting. It's quite useful for some pitch bend there. You can set, so I can just leave those mapped. So the pitch bend comes in, but then I can transpose that so it doesn't go to the full range, things like that as well. So you can see I've got those. So each function has its own mapping functions. For example, controller, then I can change a controller, control change, and then you can choose how that affects the pitch bend, or I can do control change to control change and how you affect the control change amounts as well. So I can have control change to pitch bend, and I can select those pitch bend range. So there's a lot you can do with it. So it's a really interesting solution. So just to show you what I've got there, so I've got a controller mapped to pitch bend, and you can see the range. I've got a controller here on the Keystage. And that's sending that pitch bend to the NX5R using this modification. So once you've got all this set up, like I said earlier on, you can save it, save your profile, and there's an automatic firmware update as well. There is the option to view the whole settings. So if you really wanted to check everything and go right deep into what's running, you can see it there. So there's the box connected up. I do like the fact that you get the indicators to show that things are happening MIDI wise, which is good. So if you've got a bad cable or something like that, and it's not connected, you can see what's going on, what's being sent, and what's not being sent. So I think that's my TX7 not sending anything at the moment, and I could probably do a data dump, and you'll see that flash, and that would work with it as well. The other nice thing I'll be able to do as well with the TX7 is I can then send my patch banks directly from DX Manager straight to the TX7 from here as well, and still be able to control it from the keyboard as well. So that works really well. So it costs about 40 quid. Various places you can get it from. I got it from Amazon, but there are a few different places you get it from. I'll include a couple of links in the video description. For me, it was doing the merge so that I could control it from Cubase and the Keystage at the same time, the TX, but actually it's opened up possibilities to control more things. So I'm actually going to end up having more real-time hands-on controls than I originally thought. So I like that. I think the next thing is to get my D110 set up so I can have that sort of real-time in front of me on there as well. That's a bit of a beast to navigate patch management, and being able to use the Keystage to scroll through the patches is actually a really useful feature. So I think I'll probably set that up like that. Just got to find the space to run it on. So thanks for watching this video. I hope that helps. I'm sure there's a lot more it can do. I've only had it for a couple of days, but it's doing the job for me. And maybe I'll spend some more time with it and do an update when I've got a bit more into it. So thanks for watching the video. I'll see you on the next one. 3, 2, 1, recording. So just to show you, I've got there. So I've got a controller mapped to pitch bend, and you can see the range. I've got a controller here on the Keystage. And that's sending that pitch bend to the NX5R using this modification. And of course, we've got multiple mappers as well. So I'll just reset that one. So once you've got all this set up, like I said earlier on, you can save it, save your profile, and there's an automatic firmware update as well. There is the option to view the whole settings. So if you really wanted to check everything and go right deep into what's running, you can see it there. I think it's a So there's the box connected up. I do like the fact that you get the indicators to show that things are happening MIDI-wise, which is good. So if you've got a bad cable or something like that, and it's not connected, you can see what's going on, what's being sent, what's not being sent. So I think that's my TX7 not sending anything at the moment, and I could probably do a data dump, and you'll see that flash, and that would work with it as well. The other nice thing I'll be able to do as well with the TX7 is I can then send my patch banks directly from DX Manager straight to the TX7 from here as well, and still be able to control it from the keyboard as well. So that works really well. So it costs about 40 quid. Various places you can get it from. I got it from Amazon, but there are a few different places you get it from. I'll include a couple of links in the video description. For me, it was doing the merge so that I could control it from Cubase and the Keystage at the same time, the TX, but actually it's opened up possibilities to control more things. So I'm actually going to end up having more real-time hands-on controls than I originally thought. So I like that. I think the next thing is to get my D110 set up so I can have that sort of real-time in front of me on there as well. That's a bit of a beast to navigate patch management. And being able to use the Keystage to scroll through the patches is actually a really useful feature. So I think I'll probably set that up like that. Just got to find the space to run it on. So thanks for watching this video. I hope that helps. I'm sure there's a lot more it can do. I've only had it for a couple of days, but it's doing the job for me. And maybe I'll spend some more time with it and do an update when I've got a bit more into it. So thanks for watching the video. I'll see you on the next one.